Hello! Oh shit. I'm not good at this, man. I can't control like how I do this. It's really strange. Like I click on the menu and it works, and then I forget to turn my mic on. I forget to turn everything else on. Mr. TARDIS is live as well. Damn. What a guy. Should I see who else is live right now as well? The Yogscast, Peep Show, Rate My Takeaway, Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay, Darren Brown. That's disgraceful. They know this is my slot, damn it. Welcome, one and all, to the Who Bulletin. We are back again this week to talk about the brand new episode, Wild Blue Yonder. If you haven't already seen my review, yes, a YouTube review, holy shit. It is live on the channel right now, you can go and see it. But don't watch it now. Don't watch it now, idiot. Wait till after. Wait till after we finish the stream and then, watch it later on before you go to bed. Nice little good night thing. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm going to give all of you a quick shout out. Dr. Master, welcome once again. Abigail, Abbas Nunno, Alternate 13th, Chris Barnes, Luke O'Ryan. Are you streaming on Twitch tonight? I will be streaming on Twitch after this, given the wonderful news of the GTA 6 trailer, which dropped, of course, last night, about midnight. I will be streaming GTA Vice City over on Twitch this evening, which should be quite fun. I don't have many memories of playing this game. If I've even played it, I don't actually know. So I've got it ready to go. Hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, who knows? We'll come up with something. But we'll be going, yes, live on Twitch after this stream. Heading over there. Let me put some background music on. Again, all background music in these streams is provided by the wonderful Peter Miles, who is linked, of course, in the description below. Incredible musician. And also, I did want to shout out something as well. We actually have a Discord server now, which is kind of, we're starting one step at a time. We're not jumping into it, but if you are new here and you're not already in the Discord server, and want to just chat about Doctor Who, chat about other stuff, and also get notifications when we go live and on which platform, that's the best place to be. Yeah, so feel free to join up there. You might not be able to talk straight away, but when I get some time after the stream later tonight, I'll be adding any permissions to new people who have joined. So feel free to join the Discord server if you haven't already, to find out when we go live and all the latest news, updates, all that sort of lovely stuff. But yes, welcome to the stream, all 26 of you. Gotta say, I loved it. Felt like a classic episode to me. I agree. I mean, I've already given my opinions, so this has been more of a discussion thing. If you haven't seen my review of Wild Blue Yonder just yet, I love it. I think it's brilliant, and it really just is what I love. When Doctor Who does it right, it does it right. And I don't think that's like a criticism on anything, like, at all. I think it's a great... I think it's a great story. I think it's something just refreshing. I'm not saying we haven't had good stories in recent years, we have, but this is really stand out to me. This really sticks out, and it's one of those ones where after you've watched it, you have a few days, and even today, like, it's a Tuesday, it's a few days after it's come out, and I'm still thinking about it. Like, it's still in my mind. I'm still thinking about those moments. For me, musically, I love what Murray Gold did with this episode, and I think that really hits the emotion harder. The final scene with the TARDIS, amazing. I found the funniest classic clip. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I can I send it to you either on here or Twitch? Drop it in the Discord, actually, or somewhere, and I'll try and react to it if it's not fully inappropriate. It's just a classic Doctor Who clip. If his episode was in Series 4, I wouldn't argue it's really good, with the exception of the CGI. Yeah, I think the thing is, for me, the CGI is in different parts. The CGI with the corridor, the CGI with the monsters, fine. I don't care. Like, the whole thing with the monsters is they're supposed to be weird and kind of fluidy, and they're not supposed. There's no actual way of being able to do that properly, I don't think, without it looking like overly CGI'd kind of thing. But yeah, I think it was excellent, and it was a really, really excellent story. I think everything about it was brilliant. I think with the corridors, isn't it? It's not even about the poor CGI of the corridors. It's more to do with the concept of it. It's such a great concept of a horror story, and I wanted the corridor to kind of reflect that a bit more. Initially, I was sort of like, wow, this is a very futuristic kind of ship. I wasn't actually sold on it being like a horror vibe at all, until obviously they introduce the monsters and they have the scene where they're on the edge of like reality and the edge of the universe. I think that's brilliant. So I think for me, yeah, I'm not really. I think it wasn't really about the just generally like it being bad CGI. For me, it was actually just the effect of it was quite different. When the sets were real and they were darker and dingier, it's great. So yeah, no, I love that. I wish there was a bit more. Let's have a look at this. Oh, I think I did see this on Twitter. I don't know if I can like react to the actual clip on stream, but I'll. Oh my god, his rent was due. I don't know what episode that's even from. I don't remember the Daleks ever being on a pirate ship. Yeah, that scene where the camera was showing off the ship and the music was the best. I completely agree. I think all the CGI shots of the outside of the ship look brilliant. Just got finished watching Nolly to prepare for John Logie Baird and The Giggle. It was really good. RTD is a good writer. I've never seen Nolly and I need to watch it, I feel. Last one, I promise. I felt the Newton opening was odd. I enjoyed the Mavity jump, but I hope it somehow has a bigger payoff. I think it will. It seemed very out of place for this episode. But it could have been for a little light-hearted joke. You never know. I'm hoping there will be some consequences off that, but we'll see what happens. I'm not really sure where they could take that. Oh, the chase. That makes sense. Yo, George, all I can think about at the moment is Margaret the Slovene running away from the Doctor and then being teleported back. Welcome to my life, like day in, day out, man. That's all I think about. Also, I loved Wild Blue Yonder more than Star Beast. I agree. I was glad Russell brought up the Flux, because it was my favourite thing in the Chibnall era. Yeah, I agree, actually. I don't think the Flux is my favourite thing in the Chibnall era. But in terms of an overall plot thread, yeah, there was only two major overall plot threads, and that was the Timeless Child and the Flux. So, for them both to get a reference in here is great. You know, you don't really get that from many other showrunners. You get acknowledgements sometimes, but not from Chibnall. We didn't get many of the Moffat era acknowledgements. At the beginning of the Moffat era, we had Victory of the Daleks, and the Doctor points out that the events of Stolen Earth and Journey's End to Amy, being like, you should remember this. I don't remember Chibnall acknowledging many Moffat storylines, but that's probably because there wasn't anything big that happened around Series 10. It would have been nice to acknowledge the Series 10 finale when the Master came in, but obviously we didn't get that. So there's just even more confusion about which version of the Master Sacha Dhawan is. I hope the Slovene come back in this new era. That would be great, but I find it unlikely. It would be really cool if they did. I don't know how they'd do it, though. They are a bit of a joke, so I don't really know. I don't know. You never know. I theorise that the Toymaker is going to turn people into puppets, because at the promo image we see Charles de Malos' character kind of look like the puppet the Toymaker has in the promos. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. That could be an idea. The Flux mention was amazing. It wraps it up nicely. I don't even know if it was trying to wrap it up. I think it was just acknowledging the effect of previous events on the Doctor's own mental health and psyche. And I think that's genuinely really important. I think you need that. So I was quite chuffed with that one. Would you rather be infected by the Flood or face the Vashta-Nerada? Well, Vashta-Nerada at least I'd have a chance, and if I died, it would be very suddenly. So I feel like I'd probably appreciate that more than I would the Flood, which is quite a gruesome death, and you're almost aware of what's going on, so it's a bit scarier. don't want to die either way, really, so that would be nice. Classic Who is so funny because it's genuinely silly out of nowhere, whereas I don't feel it happens much in New Who. I don't think they can get away with it in New Who because you have to kind of fight for it to be a modern drama. If you're too silly, it's sort of, I don't know, it doesn't really fit. Everything's a product of its time, and that era in TV did have more of a license to be silly with its dramas. With Midnight being one of my overall favourite episodes of the show overall. Very happy to see RCD continue with those creepy vibes here. Great episode. I completely agree. Yeah, very Midnight, big Midnight vibes actually. I was thinking that Donna and the Doctor would be screwed if the Vashta Nerada was on that ship, because there were times where the lights turned off. Yeah, probably. You got infected with the flood. Yeah, I thought the episode was great. What? Big question for chat actually. What did you prefer? Did you prefer Wild Blue Yonder, or did you prefer the Star Beast? Which was your favourite so far? It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. Wild Blue Yonder, easy. Wild Blue Yonder, Wild Blue Yonder, Wild Blue Yonder. Yeah, see, I feel this is the general opinion, which is a shame because I think the Star Beast was good. Maybe just not as good. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, Wild Blue Yonder was just an instant classic, I think, for Doctor Who fans. And I love the fact that so many people love it. I watched it late, you see. So on the night it came out, I was busy. And I couldn't watch it live, so I had to watch it later on. And I ended up watching it about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't been on Twitter at all. I hadn't been on social media. I hadn't seen anything about the episode. I did see one thing, and I saw Wilf. That's it. But I didn't know what to think. And then I watched it, and I was like, I love it, but I don't know if everyone else will. And I was worried. I was honestly worried that people would be disappointed that, you know, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi and all that sort of thing didn't turn up. That it wasn't a multi-Doctor story. It wasn't anything big. Like Shooty and Millie didn't show up. A lot of people were theorising that. Because to be honest, I watched it and I was like, this is perfect as is. I don't want to see that. I think people forget that obviously, yeah, it's a 60th anniversary celebration, but you also have to make functioning TV. You have a lot of stuff nowadays, Disney, Marvel, which basically they and Star Wars as well, they put the money and the time into these things and they make these massive multi-million dollar projects that really its only selling point is like, oh my god, do you remember this character? Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Ahsoka, but like the reliance upon nostalgia again is just too much. Marvel's the worst with it. You'll have someone show up and do a big fanfare, and it's like, what the fuck's the point in that? Like, I actually really respect that Russell came back to Doctor Who and just went, no, we're not going to do a big episode with all these returning people. What we're going to do is we're going to do an episode which is just a pure drama, horror concept with Catherine Tate and David Tennant, who are both more than talented enough to pull this script off. And I think, yeah, genius. That's brilliant. That's what I want. The 60th anniversary special celebration thing doesn't have to be about making new multi-Doctor stories. If anything, there have been too many multi-Doctor stories recently, and I'm quite glad. I mean, obviously it's cool to see if it happens, but I'm kind of glad we didn't get that with this. Because if you actually think about it, right, when we got the 50th anniversary of the Doctor... Oh no, I haven't watched Loki Season 2. So, and I've heard that's very good, so I'm not dragging that, I'm more dragging other Marvel projects for that point, basically. I think I actually respect this, because in terms of multi-Doctor stories, when the 50th came around, we'd not had a multi-Doctor story on screen since the 2 Doctors, or Dimensions in Time, or whatever you want to call it. But on screen TV, we hadn't had one. And especially in the new series, you had 2005 all the way up to 2013, and we didn't have a single crossover multi-Doctor episode. Once the Doctor was gone, they never came back. So to see David Tennant and then have John Hurt in it, and then reference other Doctors, was such a big deal. And I loved that. I think that was amazing, and you really felt the impact of that at the time. And then since then, we didn't have anything until 2017, where we had David Bradley's first Doctor come face to face with Peter Capaldi in 2017, and then in 2020 we had the Fugitive Doctor and the 13th Doctor. In 2021 we get the same with Flux, and then obviously 2022 we had The Power of the Doctor, which was exactly what people were kind of wanting for a 60th anniversary. You had multiple Doctors in there, you had multiple old companions in there, you had the Master, you had the Cybermen, you had the Daleks. If you wanted a big sort of fan wanky explosion of a Doctor Who episode to celebrate an anniversary, that was Power of the Doctor. And I quite like that the celebration, like, nostalgia aspect of the 60th is that you're not getting one 60th special, you're getting 3, and you're getting it with a returning Doctor and companion, with a sort of compelling plot to sort of explain why this Doctor's back. I think that's so much better, honestly. Like, I always said, like, I didn't expect to see a multi-Doctor story for the 60th, and I almost didn't really want that. It doesn't have to be every time, and if we come to expect it, then it becomes boring, and then it's less of an enjoyable thing. Can you imagine if, like, the next multi-Doctor story we do is, like, the 70th, or maybe, like, 65th or something like that, where it's, like, a few years away from now, where we've had enough time to not have Doctor crossovers and that dynamic, and then we can kind of enjoy it again when it does happen. I'm not saying I want that. Of course, like, if Matt Smith rocked up in this episode, I would have lost my mind and it would have been amazing and it probably would have got a 10 out of 10. But it's not always about that. Tennant and Catherine Tate returning, along with Donna's family, along with the Toymaker, Beep the Meep, the Wrath Warriors, all of that is more than enough nostalgia and Doctor Who fanny stuff for me. So I'm happy with that. I didn't need anything more than that. I didn't need Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi to rock up as evil versions of themselves. Yes, it would have been cool if this version of the Doctor in this episode, the thing that was trying to replicate him, couldn't quite work out the whole regeneration thing. It reads his mind and all that sort of thing, and maybe morph into different things. Could have even had David Tennant in his old costume for that, like, bit, and all that sort of thing, and have mixed up, like, it's getting confused with that. And the Donna one is the main threat for a bit, because obviously you can work out which Doctor's not the real one because he's struggling with the concept of regeneration, like the Flesh did in Rebel Flesh and Almost People. The Doctor got confused. They didn't physically change their appearance, but they were doing quotes and lines from other Doctors, and that's all part of that. The entire concept of David and Catherine coming back for 3 specials is the most nostalgia-baity thing Doctor Who has ever done. Yeah, I don't think that's entirely true. Because I feel like it would have been if the stories were just the same, right? But I get a feeling that actually it's not about that, and it's more a case of, like, they actually had a story to tell here. Now, it all depends on how they wrap that up in the giggle. More so with Donna. I feel like David Tennant come back as the 14th Doctor. Absolutely fine with that. There's going to be a reason for that, and they explore that. I think there's a lot of great theories out there, and I hope some of them come true. There's a lot of stuff with the TARDIS. In Journey's End, the TARDIS actively shuts the doors on Donna, not letting her get out onto the Dalek ship, because the TARDIS is a time machine and is also conscious and can see what needs to happen for the future to play out. There's always that implication of the TARDIS where it's like the TARDIS doesn't take the Doctor where the Doctor wants to go, but where he needs to go, or she needs to go. And I think the TARDIS has always done that. You know, it trapped Donna in the TARDIS despite them thinking that Donna had died, because they knew they had to get to that scenario for the meta crisis to happen, and that was the only way that Davros was going to be defeated, and that had to happen because that's always happened, because the TARDIS is a time machine and knows that. In the same way that you're implying that with this episode, the time machine would know when the hostile threat ends and when it would come back, and that's all part of it. So you've got that element of it, and then I'm bringing that back here simply because I feel that there is some sort of trickery going on here. So we have the Doctor's face change into an old face, and then the costume changes, and then he gets into the TARDIS and it's out of control. Lands on Skaro and then lands in Camden, conveniently right next to where Donna is and right next to where her daughter is, exactly in the right place and time it needs to be. This whole idea of destiny with Donna is always kind of coming together at the right point. The meta-crisis thing happens. It clicks. She's fine. They get into the TARDIS. And the TARDIS has a coffee machine built into it, despite the fact that if a drop of coffee gets spilt onto it, it went over the top and overreacted. I kind of feel, again, that TARDIS is doing this intentionally to get these things to happen, so that they had to have that experience on that spaceship, to invoke the superstition, to bring the Toymaker back, and then have whatever happens in the giggle happen. I think there's a little bit of... That's my conspiracy, and I feel like a lot of people have expressed this on Twitter as well, where it's like, you've got the idea of the TARDIS basically taking control here and deciding what it does. So, yeah. I think there's a lot of interesting discussions to be had there in terms of how much the TARDIS is conscious and how much of an effort it's actually making. There is always a mystery. And if the giggle doesn't solve this, I will be a little bit admittedly annoyed, because then there's a lot of plot controversies. Controversies? That's not the right word at all, is it? Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Basically, like, if we get to the end of the giggle, the Doctor regenerates, everything's back to normal, fine, and we don't get the face change explanation, we don't get the costume change explanation, we don't get a few of these things. Like, why did the Doctor get an old face back, the costume change during regeneration, which has never been brought up, which worries me, and then the TARDIS lands directly next to Donna Noble almost immediately? Why? Why? It's just interesting. And they brought this up in the episode. They actually said this. It's like, and the TARDIS lands right in front of it. Then a spaceship crashes from the sky. It's like someone's drawing them together like it's meant to be. All of these things seem too convenient. Why would the TARDIS put a coffee machine in one of its entire panels if dropping any sort of liquid onto the machine would blow it up like that? I think it was intentional. I do think it was intentional, because somehow they had to get to that end of the universe thing, and the TARDIS had to leave them there for them to have that engagement with those creatures, do the whole salt thing, which would unleash the Toymaker, because maybe the Toymaker caused this in the first place, and it's sort of a time travel thing. It's like bootstrap paradox kind of thing. Like, the reason this is all happening is because of the Toymaker, and the TARDIS knows that for the Toymaker to affect events in the past, they need to bring him back in the future by invoking the whole salt superstition. This being said, I could be completely wrong, and I could be talking complete bollocks, so bear that in mind. I'm just kind of waffling and thinking, like, well, how much has been planned here? Well, I thought you might have something on that in terms of the regeneration actually being shooty, but not like looking like Tennant, because in the trailers we had the whole like what is going on here. I kind of thought we'd see Shooty in every special, and it would be kind of leading into that. But it seems like Shooty's not a part of it until next week, which is fine. You know, we get the time with Tennant and Tate back, and then there's going to be a lot in this next episode. Maybe too much. I'm a little bit worried, admittedly, about how much they're trying to put in this episode. Again, similar to the Star Beast in terms of setup. You've got a lot going on here with the Toymaker, with the Doctor changing face, but it'll probably be explained away with a line of dialogue with the Toymaker. I'm hoping it will with the Toymaker. Are the supposed leaks fair game in the chat? Oh, I mean, don't go into details just in case there are people who want to avoid the leaks. I wouldn't want to ruin their experience in here. But you can allude to them without spoiling directly. Welcome, hooligans. How you doing? I don't think it is over an hour. I think it is bang on an hour, actually. I don't know what. I think every episode has been bang on an hour. So that would make sense. I think the idea of keeping the episode secret was good. A good idea to a degree. A good idea from the show's perspective, but the fans were the downfall. To be honest, I did expect more drama considering the secrecy. I think it's about enjoyment, and I think it could have been misjudged. It could have been, yeah. I think the Doctor Who magazine element, just having the 3 redacted names, was a bit suspicious. I did admittedly go into it thinking that we will see an old character again. I admit that. But I think a lot of people got too hyped up. You always have to go into everything with a pinch of salt and just admit that when you go into something, you don't know what's going to happen. Next week, with this leak, this by regeneration theory, which we're not going to delve into too much, just to not completely spoil it for everyone, because it's just been talked about, and the likelihood is it might happen. But the thing is, people have a preconceived idea of what's going to happen and then go into the episode with that idea, but you're not going to ever know anything until you actually sit down and watch the episode for yourself. What is the schedule after the next? A schedule of what exactly? Of Doctor Who. There'll be a new episode on Christmas Day, Church on Ruby Road, and then there'll probably be a new series around April, May time next year, which is very exciting. Yeah, oh no, trust me, I'm nervous about it as well. If it is a bit naff in the execution, I'll be a bit worried. But I don't think there's any need to worry, because I think with anything, anything's a new concept for the first time. You know, I don't want them to just do the same thing over and over again. The fact of the matter is, the circumstances with this regeneration have been weird. The Doctor regenerating into an old face, it's never happened before. The changing clothes with the regeneration, okay, that has happened once on the first one, but that was more of a production thing than an actual canon thing reason, so we can say that's something new as well. The whole coincidence with meeting Donna again and all this sort of thing, it's leading up to something weird happening, so I'd be surprised if there wasn't some sort of strange effect with the regeneration that allowed for Ncuti and Tennant to stand side by side. And there you go, that's a multi-Doctor story, so... I don't know what the newest leak is, but I'm quite excited just to see where it goes. Again, you got to go into these things with an open mind. You can explain something on a Reddit page, but it doesn't exactly translate to screen how it is in your head, right? You've got to be able to have some sort of open-minded idea about where it's going to go. RTD is the type of guide to be playing ahead, so don't worry if not everything is introduced in these specials to be resolved. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's more just the stuff with the old face coming back and the whole regeneration stuff. I feel like you want to deal with that now, because that has always been the stuff that they've been bigging up to tease. I'm not expecting to see who Beep the Meep's boss was. I'm not expecting any resolution to the Timeless Child stuff or Flux stuff. I'm thinking literally just the stuff about the regeneration, the changing face, the stuff that's actually in the 60th and is about this Doctor and why these things are happening. So yeah, that's all. So trailer for the Christmas episode on Saturday, most likely. Yeah, we'll probably get a trailer for the Church on Ruby Road this Saturday as well, which will be really nice to see. Ncuti's first episode. Yeah. See you later, Abbas. Thank you for joining. There was someone who's a reliable leaker who leaked parts of Wild Blue Yonder, told things regarding the giggle and the regeneration. I agree with Dr. Master here. It is annoying that shows are able to be leaked so easily. And they need stricter policies, I think, in the BBC. They need to, there's only so much you can do when it's outdoor filming. You can't stop that. But when it's stuff about like the regeneration, that was done very likely on a closed set with certain people around. Now, these things obviously were filmed so long ago that it was obviously just asking to be leaked at a certain point. But actually, it is a shame that these things happen, and it is annoying that every single era with Doctor Who we get these things. We get big leaks that sort of say stuff about the plot. We get, Jodie Whittaker's first episode, we had a clip leak online, we had the sonic screwdriver was revealed early. You had a bunch of different stuff which was revealed before it should have been, and it's unfortunate. Capaldi's era, you had the same fucking thing, like 5 or 6 episodes actually fully leaked online, which is mental. I don't think Beep's boss will be the toy maker. I think they've actually revealed that it's still to be announced. There's not actually anything in the giggle which alludes to the toy maker being Beep's boss. I think the toy maker you need to consider the Toymaker and what kind of character the Toymaker is. I don't feel like the Toymaker is a kind of collaborative villain. They are intelligent enough to be their own thing and fuck with people. They don't have to partner up with, like, Beep the Meep, who's just a murderer for the sake of murdering. And I think that's important to stress. Like, I had the whole of Ruby Road spoiled, which I know I shouldn't have read, but it's still bad the whole episode got leaked easily. Of course, not seen the episode, but the major plot details, Davina McCall and Goblin. Yeah, I mean, I've seen those details, and I've seen those exact things that you're referring to. But I don't feel like it's ruined, and you can't go into it with that, because the fact of the matter is you haven't seen it. You can have bits of the plot described, but the most exciting thing, surely, about the Church on Ruby Road is to actually see what these characters are like. To see what the new companion, Ruby, is like, to see what Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor is like. It's a post-regeneration story, it's a new Doctor. That's exciting, inherently. Chibnall was pretty good at avoiding leaks, actually. There was only very few stuff that, like, came through the gaps. Only at the very start of the era there was issues, but... What are we thinking about the supposedly random changes to canon, i.e. the Children Need Special and Mavity? That's twice now in 3-ish episodes. Possibly not random, knowing Russell T Davies. Good question. I don't know what changes to canon that were made in the Children Need Special. And I think you need to take everything that's a skit and not in the actual show itself with a pinch of salt. There's stuff with Davros, which could be potentially alluded to, but I don't really see that as breaking any sort of canon so far, because currently we just see a pre-Genesis version of Davros before he was in the chair. The stuff with the Daleks' creation, again, it might have been explored in stuff like Big Finish and comics, books, etc., but on screen, we don't know, whether the Daleks had a big claw before they had a plunger. We don't know. So I don't know. I don't really know in specifically what changes in terms of canon and the Children Need Special. Mavity, I think, comes across more as a joke than anything else, like a sort of running joke. Hence why they put it all the way through Wild Blue Yonder. But it does make me wonder whether that's going to be an important thing or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't really see a word changing as like a big canon shift for Doctor Who. It's just a word, and it's just a kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. If that's even a thing that'll continue. Yeah. I think personally, and this is my prediction area here, I think Beep the Meep's boss will be the character in Ncuti Gatwa's first series, who seems to be some sort of politician for this place, like Albion or something. This sort of political thing. They appear in the same episode as the giant slug thing, but it's this young lad, big hair. I wonder how long the Mavity joke is going to go on for. I don't know. Hopefully a little bit of a while. Maybe a couple series would be quite nice. Maybe it'll actually go somewhere. Maybe it won't. Seems to be hinting that the timeline has gone wrong. It's like that, but I think it's also the things like the butterfly effect, isn't it? You change one little thing, and some things change, some things don't. I think it's interesting. We'll see what happens with that, though. I don't know. Like, it's usually said that at least a few times a season in a doctory technobabble. That's true, actually. The word gravity is used quite a lot, so I wonder if they will replace it with Mavity and how long they'll carry this on for. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something with that. You genuinely don't know. Maybe it'll just be a little tongue-in-cheek joke that gets forgotten about straight away. I mean, in Wild Blue Yonder, the Doctor actually did say the word gravity before correcting himself to Mavity, so there's definitely something in it. That's it. That's the one. Very good. Very, very good. Oh no, I wasn't thinking about him. Was I thinking about him? Maybe I was thinking about him. Who is he playing in Doctor Who? Oh, he isn't. Yeah, this is the person I was thinking about. But does it actually announce what his character is called? His character is called Roger A.P. Gwilliam, or Gwilliam. And it looks, I mean, he was in those episodes when they were filming, like, the politics stuff. So I wonder if he's going to be some sort of space guy, or whether it's literally just going to be some human dickhead. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. Very cool, though. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder. I do wonder. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That is very interesting. And for those who missed it earlier, I'm just going to make it clear again, once again, usually with these live streams on Tuesdays, we go over to Twitch after we're finished on here. So around about 8 o'clock, we'll be heading over to twitch.tv /GBSheard. I'll put a link in the chat just now, so if you haven't already followed, you can go and drop me a follow. But we usually go over there and we're going to play some video games for a little bit, talk about the same stuff, ask the same sort of questions, so you're more than welcome to join after. We'll be continuing to stream up until about 10 o'clock this evening, which is our usual little schedule, so feel free to join us as we play GTA Vice City, which will be fun, and probably just chat random stuff about Doctor Who, as always. I thought it was a throwaway comment too, but it just reminds me of the bees are disappearing. Probably going to be nothing, though, yeah. That's true, actually. Russell is very good at putting these things in his scripts, and the thing with the bees disappearing, although not a major plot point, was something that did actually come back up and have a payoff. So it depends. I don't know. It really depends. I'm hoping there's going to be some really good stuff with these series. They're planning very far ahead, which they've never really done with Doctor Who, even in Russell's last era, so I'm very interested to see how that's going to work. You know, Ncuti's first series is already fully shot, and the second series is currently filming. So by the time we see Season 1 of the new Doctor Who going forward, Season 2 will probably be finished shooting as well. And we know from the Doctor Who at 60 musical celebration that Season 3 is written. Maybe not in pre-production yet, but it is written. And Russell made a joke about doing a musical episode where there's just music and there's no dialogue or anything, and like Murray Gold will have a chance to just completely shine on that. He was saying, oh, maybe we could write an episode for Season 3, and then went, maybe Season 4, Season 3 is already full, maybe we'll do Season 4, we'll do a musical episode. And it's like, wow, they're writing that far ahead. So I'm very excited. And at least it kind of seems to me like Ncuti might be staying for a while, which is amazing, if so. Yeah, really, really exciting stuff. Also, Davis is the type of guy to be planning ahead, so don't worry if not everything is introduced in these episodes will be resolved. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I don't think the thing with Mavity will be touched upon again in the giggle, maybe mentioned a couple times. But I think, yeah. I don't think Ncuti's regen will be, because I feel like there comes a point where, because they're filming it so, like full on, I don't think that's the case. Ncuti's only been filming Doctor Who for a year now, and they're sort of a good way through the second series, which is amazing. Welcome, Joel. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I mean they're already halfway through shooting Ncuti's second season, so by the time, as I say, Season 1 comes out, they'll have 2 seasons shot. So unless Ncuti's wanting to walk away after a year, I don't expect that to be the case. I genuinely think Ncuti, if anything, there might be a break. But I feel that maybe they'll do a thing where, yeah, I mean, Ncuti is quite a sought-after actor, and that's the most exciting thing about him being in Doctor Who, is that he's chosen this because he believes in it. Ewan's there. Oh my god, that's amazing. That is very exciting. That's 2 in 1. I'm losing a viewer technically because I've got them both grouped in with Joel. Sadness. Be sad. Yeah, I'm very interested to see where it's going to go, and I think there's a lot to it where how long Ncuti will stay. But if they've already written Season 3, and they're starting to work on season 4. I mean, Russell is just full steam ahead. I have absolutely no doubt that he's setting things up in season 1 that might pay off in season 4, which is incredible to think about, because the first time around we didn't really get that. They didn't really know where they were going. The confidence to write this many seasons ahead implies to me that there's maybe some contracts in place to see how long these actors are going to last in these roles, and I think that's really exciting. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see where that goes and stuff, but as it stands, I'm very excited for the future of Doctor Who, and I think this week's episode was brilliant. As we all know, we've all talked about to the nth degree, other than a few dodgy CGI shots here and there. The episode itself was written and performed fantastically, and it was a super enjoyable one. Took me right back to being a kid. Proper creepy, scary vibe. The music was excellent. So I think Doctor Who's in a good place. And I think next week will be exciting. We're going to get a regeneration. We're going to get an old companion back as well. That's an interesting thing, because Mel has rocked up in the background. So that's something I saw. Now, I've never seen a single Doctor Who story with Mel in it. It's not an era that I've watched. I've watched the end of Sylvester McCoy's era. I've not seen the beginning, and I've not seen Mel's introduction. Oh, Mel wasn't even introduced then. She was introduced in the 6th Doctor's era, wasn't she? Shit. So I feel like, and I've heard some people say that if you haven't watched Mel's introduction to the show, or how she meets the Doctor, then that's definitely worth watching before the giggle this Saturday, because this episode is going to reintroduce her, and I feel like it might be some important context. Now, I don't know, because I've not watched them, but I'm hoping to by the end of the week, just to kind of work out what's going on there and why I should be paying attention to that. But yeah, the character's coming back, so it makes complete sense that we're going to see more of that. Trial of a Time Lord, of course. Interesting that she was introduced during Trial of a Time Lord. I don't think I knew that. But it's interesting, and I think it's interesting going forward. We know Mel is not only appearing in this Saturday's episode alongside David Tennant, Catherine Tate, but we also know that Mel is going to be appearing in Ncuti's era as well. We're going to be seeing this companion come back again. I have a feeling that Mel is going to be the Sarah Jane of this new era. An old companion who has, who comes back and is a regular appearing character, maybe once a series. I'd like to see that again with Kate Stewart. It's great to see Kate Stewart in this week's episode as well, alongside the beginning of Ncuti's era. It's very exciting to see these characters keep coming back, and knowing that they're secure in the future of Doctor Who. We're watching an episode with Kate Stewart and Mel this Saturday, and we know that it's neither of their final appearances in the show, so that's super exciting. Yeah, I also agree that Mel will be the only returning companion. I don't think we're going to get any more. Oh, interesting. There's not an actual proper introduction. Weird. Yeah, that's what I meant with the new Sarah Jane thing as well. Sarah Jane was brilliant. She came back. There was proper substantial stories to delve into there, and then she got a spin-off. And then was a series regular, appeared in series 4, appeared in The End of Time, and there was obviously crossover episodes back and forth with her own spin-off. So I think it was really cool to do something with that. And I'd love to see them do the same with Mel. Especially with Bonnie Langford being quite a well-known household name in the UK. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with that and how they introduce these characters back into it. I know we'll see Mel this Saturday, which they seem to be keeping secret and keeping under wraps, but she is in the promo photos in the background, very blurry, so you can see that they're doing it. Yeah. I don't know if he's planning the 16th Doctor. I have a feeling that maybe that's not the case, because you don't know when an actor wants to give up with the role, and I don't think it's ever a choice of the showrunner unless it goes on for too long. Especially in recent years, no Doctor has lasted more than 3 series, and I think the only time I think a writer or the BBC has had any say in terms of when a Doctor leaves, funnily enough, probably the last 2. I have a feeling that that happened with Capaldi and that happened with Whittaker. I don't think that happened with Matt Smith. Definitely didn't happen with David Tennant. It definitely didn't happen with Chris Eccleston. Chris Eccleston left on his own accord. David Tennant definitely left on his own accord. He was offered another series under Stephen Moffat. Matt Smith, again, decided when he wanted to leave and decided that was enough for him. Again, despite regretting it, he was still offered to do Series 8. Peter Capaldi, we don't know about that. We don't know if he was planning to stay any longer or wanted to stay any longer. But I'm getting the impression, just based off what we've seen, that that isn't the case. Which is really sad, because Peter Capaldi was excellent, but I have a feeling the BBC, as soon as Moffat stepped down, were like, right, let's reinvent it. We don't want Capaldi back. And also, based on interviews that he's given since, he doesn't seem overly crazy about coming back to the show at any time soon, and he doesn't really seem to want to be kind of involved or associated with it beyond small press appearances, like when he's obviously talking about Ncuti Gatwa. I think he handed Ncuti an award at the Scottish BAFTAs last year, or earlier this year. And of course he references the Doctor in that sense, because Ncuti is the new Doctor, and that makes all the sense in the world. Jodie, again, I feel like was content with it, but every interview you see with Jodie is she absolutely loves playing the Doctor. She loved the experiences she had, and she said it's something that she's always going to look back on and love, and she doesn't think she's going to find a better acting gig than that. So again, I get the feeling that that wasn't her decision to leave, and that was put upon her, which is really sad, but makes sense. And then, yeah, David Tennant, obviously, again, that was always temporary. So I don't feel that it's, and whenever those things have happened, it's been because of changes of leadership at the BBC. Moffat stepping down, Chibnall stepping down. If Russell stepped down, the BBC might go in and go, actually, we don't want Ncuti for another series, and we want the new showrunner to bring in someone else. But given how far ahead Russell's writing, I don't see why he would want to write the Doctor to regenerate. I don't know why he'd want to do that unless there was a specific drama reason for it to happen, but the Doctor can last 3 series easily. We want the Doctor to go on further than that. So if Ncuti lasts more than 3 series, 4 series even, that would be amazing. That fills me with a lot of excitement. I would love to see Russell write a female Doctor too. I agree, actually. I'd love to see that. I think it'd be really good. I think Capaldi was pushed out, which is why he's not really feeling like coming back, which is understandable in that situation. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would like to see Russell write for Jodie, but some things just never happen. In the same way of like Russell never wrote Peter Capaldi's Doctor. That probably also won't happen. Would love to see it, but I just don't think it will. I think Russell's here for the foreseeable future. I genuinely do. I think Russell is here for the foreseeable future. I can't see him stepping away from it now. There's a reason he came back, and it wasn't just... the BBC, as far as we've heard, the BBC don't seem to be the ones that have asked him to come back. He seems to have volunteered himself. So the BBC didn't know what they were going to do, and I think Russell basically volunteered himself and said, I'll do it. And that wasn't because he wanted to do it for just the 60th. When it was initially announced that Russell was returning, it was massive news, and it was like he's coming back for the 60th anniversary, and he's going to be back for the 60th, and he's going to be writing the first series, series 14 or season 1 or whatever, and that is it. That was all that was announced. So to now know that he has written presumably three seasons, 1 is already shot, 2 is in production, 3 written, not in pre-production yet, and the 4th is being planned, if we're to believe what Russell's already saying. So if he's been doing this for a couple years, and he's still enjoying it, and he's still passionate about it, and he's still ploughing ahead with it, then I don't see why he would slow down. I don't see why he'd want to step away from it. I mean, he stepped away from Doctor Who the first time. We don't know the exact reasons. There's just various reasons to do with it. Probably because you want to try and do other things. But obviously he loves Doctor Who, and he said he spent years thinking about it since he left, and more stories he wants to tell with it. And I think that's interesting. I don't think someone who comes back to it with more stories to tell then just steps away again after a couple of years. I think I'd be surprised if Russell was in Doctor Who now for any less time than his original run. I think this might be his longest run, personally. But we'll see. We will see what happens. I mean, he's the one who's initiated all this wonderful stuff, and it's amazing to see that he's on social media as well. He posts stuff, he puts stuff out there, and I think that's great. You know, whatever you think of the quality of his writing and some of the things he makes in his scripts, it is amazing to be able to get that passion from a showrunner, that unequivocal passion from Russell, that you just know he loves the show, and he's a massive, massive fan himself. So, yeah. He said at least 4 series, but even if he leaves head writer role, I'd be surprised if he doesn't oversee it in some kind of Kevin Feige-esque way. I'd agree. But it's also a big job as well. So if he ever wants to write anything else and actually go and make it, it'd be more difficult, even if he's in that overseeing Doctor Who role. But obviously they're talking about stuff like spin-offs and stuff as well. We don't even know where they're at with that yet, whether that's even ever going to happen, whether they will, It'd be amazing if they did, but you don't know. You just don't know these things. But yeah. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, I'm glad so many people enjoy Wild Blue Yonder. It's very exciting to have an episode of Doctor Who, probably for the first time in quite a few years, where pretty much everyone is like, this is brilliant, this is great. Mel spin-off. I wouldn't be surprised if Mel appeared in this spin-off. I don't think it'll be like the Mel Bush Adventures. I think it'll be more like a Unit spin-off. She's working with Unit, clearly. And that can play on from Power of the Doctor, where Kate Stewart said, if anyone needs a job, you're more than welcome, in a room that Mel was in. So that made sense. Sea Devil spin-off. I know that's been referenced. I don't believe that story, personally. I think it sounds like bollocks. But I also... It's just... To be considered, it could potentially work. There's an idea in there, and I think if it's something very different, I just don't see it necessarily working that well. Yeah. I just love the progress that's been made with Doctor Who since Russell. A lot of people are very anti the whole Whoniverse thing because it feels too much like Marvel. That's what you have to be. Doctor Who is a massive brand. It's been going for 60 years now. You need like a position for the show where it can kind of travel forward and expand into all these new areas. Unfortunately, nowadays, you almost have to have a cinematic universe for it to work, which is quite sad, actually. But it's true, it is true. And as much as I hate it to be true, I don't like that sort of stuff. I feel like Doctor Who has a good position in that and good stakes in that. And yeah, the Sea Devils episode was really poorly received recently. So I think if they were going to do a spin-off of any Doctor Who monster, that would probably be the last one they would do at the moment. And did we also see that the Star Beast got its 7-day viewing figures back at 7.6 million UK viewers in 7 days, which is brilliant. A lot of people sort of going, well, it's not as good as it used to be, it's not as good as it should be, given the hype. I would say that's very good, considering I think that's probably the highest. Let's have a look. That is the highest 7-day consolidated figures rating for a Doctor Who episode since, I believe, the Saranga Conundrum. Yeah, that's correct. So every episode since the Saranga Conundrum has had less viewership in consolidated figures up until now, which is incredible. Yeah, that's it. Only UK viewers too. So obviously we're not including Disney Plus in that at all. So there might be even more people who've seen it on Disney Plus, which is amazing. But in terms of UK viewers, which is what we kind of count for the UK population to look at it, that's amazing. And if we discount the beginning of Jodie Whittaker's era, we can go back even further to the return of Twice Upon a Time and the return of Dr. Mysterio. The Christmas specials are the big ones. So I'm half expecting... Oh, thank you to Jockety for subscribing. I'm half expecting The Church on Ruby Road to maybe even outdo the performance of these. Christmas Day on the BBC is a big, big thing that we haven't done since Twice Upon a Time, which got 7.92 million viewers and consolidated figures. Now, that was a regeneration story. But first episodes of a Doctor also do really well. Deep Breath got 9 million, and then a 2 million drop off the week after. Woman Who Fell to Earth got 10.96 million, which is insane. I still stand by that. That is completely insane. That The Woman Who Fell to Earth is probably the most viewed, still is the most viewed Doctor Who episode in terms of consolidated figures since Time of the Doctor, which is insane, because that's been 10 years. In the last 10 years, the most viewed Doctor Who episode in terms of consolidated figures is The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Not including Disney+. We're talking UK figures. I'm hoping Church on Ruby Road can top that. I don't think it will. But I can see the Church on Ruby Road getting up to 8 mil. Maybe even 9 mil. For it being a Christmas special, and it being Shooty's first episode, and it having more promotion. I feel like it's going to be a bigger deal on Disney+. I feel like it's going to be promoted like shit everywhere, as will Shooty's first series next year. I have a feeling that the promotion is going to ramp up more for them. The 60th anniversary specials are more for the fans, I think. Whereas Shooty Gatwa being the Doctor in a whole new era, not dealing too much with stuff from the past and just kind of playing forward, is a good stepping on point for new fans. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, so I reckon we'll wrap up here. We've been streaming for a little while now, probably about an hour, so we'll probably head over to Twitch now. If you want to keep up to date with Doctor Who stuff, and when I go live, be sure to follow the link to the Discord chat there. Join, and you'll basically get notified whenever I go live on any platform. And you can also have a little place where you and fellow fans can discuss things like Doctor Who episodes throughout the week whilst I'm not there. I'll try and communicate it every now and then. But yeah, no, that'd be really nice. So please do feel free to join, and I hope to see you there. And if you don't fancy... What am I saying? If you fancy joining us over on Twitch, we'll be going live on Twitch. As soon as this live stream ends, we'll be going live over there. So feel free to head over, and we'll continue talking about Doctor Who. You can continue asking Doctor Who related questions, all that sort of lovely stuff. We're just trying to grow a following over on Twitch as well, and also just kind of separate it by playing a couple video games, which will also be very nice and enjoyable and fun. So, yes, join the Discord, head over to Twitch, drop me a follow, and we'll be going live there pretty much as soon as this stream ends. In terms of Doctor Who stuff, we will be back next week, Tuesday. I don't know the date, but the next Tuesday, 12th, maybe 12th. Is that it? 12th. Tuesday, 12th of December. We'll be doing another live stream here on YouTube, discussing The Giggle and the future of Doctor Who from there. I don't know after that, in terms of what we're doing with the Who Bulletin. I'll definitely be taking a break off for Christmas, because I'll be going home for a little bit, and I won't be at my desk and set up, and I'm not going to be waffling on every week, especially over Christmas, so you can definitely expect a little bit of a break. But yes, Council of Geeks, welcome. Yeah, just coming to the end of it, we're going to head over to Twitch, as we usually do on Tuesdays. We stream here for an hour from 7 till 8 UK time, and then we head over to Twitch. So we're going to be playing some GTA Vice City, and probably continuing to talk about Doctor Who, so you're more than welcome to head over there and join us as well. But yes, thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully see you all next week.